CreepyCorner stories.
Hey everyone, welcome back to CreepyCorner stories. You know, diving into the dark web is always risky, but sharing these stories with you makes it worth it. I'm curious, where are you watching this from right now? Let me know in the comments below. I've noticed that these kinds of stories hit differently depending on where you are. It might even make the experience a little creepier. So, tell me, are you watching from the safety of your home or somewhere less secure? I ordered a night shift security manual from the dark web. It includes a section on protocol for human-alien hybrid escapes. I think one lives in my basement. Before you judge me, I am nerd or geek who is scared of the dark. Hear me out. I made this account just to tell this story. Not sure what flare this should even go under, but let's just say I haven't slept right in days. This happened last week, and I've barely left my apartment since. If any of you know what I should do, seriously, I'm all ears. For some background, I'm 25. I live in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I work a crappy tech support job remotely from my one-bedroom apartment. Like most of you, I spend too much time on Reddit, TikTok, YouTube, all that. I'm big into conspiracy content, not like flat earth stuff, but more like creepy security footage, MK Ultra, Area 51 deep dives. You know the vibe. So yeah, that's how this all started. I was watching this YouTube video at like 2 a.m. called Dark Web Security Manuals They Don't Want You to See. Super clickbaity, right? The guy showed off these grainy scanned PDFs he said he bought from some sketchy onion site. Most of it was just boring military gibberish. But then one section came up that seriously made my skin crawl. It was titled Protocol 7-D, Containment of Terrestrial Human Hybrids. Like, what? It had these diagrams, very crude, of what looked like human organs, but distorted. Longer limbs, sunken eye sockets, blacked out dental x-rays. One file even said something about behavioral mimicry in residential areas and auditory patterns associated with distress baiting. Distress baiting, like pretending to be someone hurt to lure people in. Anyway, I was fascinated, not scared, just curious. So I started looking around. And yes, I know this was dumb, but I started going through Tor, checking forums, even messaging a few weirdos on old Discord servers who talked about this kind of stuff. One guy, I'll call him K, messaged me a link that said simply, "Buy the real thing, don't read it all at once," and a .onion URL. I'm not gonna post the link obviously, but I'll tell you what I found. The site. It looked like something out of 2004. Black background, green text, no branding. Just a few products listed with code names like Manual XH730 BTC, Autopsy Log, Hybrid .13 75 BTC, Surveillance Report, Site 29, 150 Bitcoin. I was broke as hell, so I just picked the cheapest one, Manual XH7. The title read, Night Shift Protocols, Encounters with Type B Entities and Human Anomaly Interactions. Underneath, it said in bold red, for facility use only. Unauthorized possession, punishable by Class C termination. So of course, I bought it. Now, I expected to get a download link or something, but no, this was different. 3 days later, I come back from a trip to the Starbucks across the street. No joke, I was getting a pink drink, and there's a small manila envelope just sitting outside my door. No label, no postage, just XH7 written in Sharpie on the front. At this point, I thought it was a prank, until I opened it. The manual. It was printed. About 25 pages, plastic wrapped like it had come from some lab or archive. There were smudges on some of the pages, like it had been handled by someone wearing gloves for a while. The table of contents included Protocol 1, A, Door Security, Protocol 2, B, Vocal Pattern Recognition Protocol, 3F, Shadow Movement Response Protocol, 7, D, Human-Alien Hybrid Escape Procedure Protocol, 9, K, Fire Suppression in Oxygen-Reduced Zones. Yeah, creepy, right? Now I wish I never opened it. I wish I burned the damn thing, because the section on hybrids was the most detailed one. It listed things to watch out for, like sudden static on home intercoms, mimicking voices of recently deceased family members, knocking patterns inconsistent with human urgency, rapid eye dilation in mirror reflections. I read the whole thing in one night. Something about it felt not fake, too specific, too weirdly procedural, like it was made for people who actually had to deal with this stuff. That's when things started happening in my apartment. The knocking had started the next night. I was watching YouTube, shocker, and I heard 3 knocks at my back door. I live on the 2nd floor. There is no back door, but I checked. Walked down the little hallway, looked out the window in the kitchen, and swear to God, someone was standing behind the dumpster by the alley. Couldn't see their face, just this tall, gray-hooded figure standing too still. I blinked. They were gone. I wrote it off as a prank, told myself I was being paranoid from the manual. I even laughed it off in a Discord call later with my friend Trevor. He joked, "Yo, the men in black are gonna bag you, bro." Funny, until I started hearing the static. The static. Every time I used my Alexa or my phone speaker, I'd hear this weird buzzing, almost like a low hiss. Then this quick burst of what sounded like my voice, like it was playing something I had said earlier, but warped, delayed, like someone was recording me. I tested it one night. I said, "Hello," out loud while playing a blank video on my phone with the volume up, and 10 seconds later, the word hello came back, in my voice, but dragged out, like a broken speaker trying to mimic me. That's when I freaked out and decided to delete everything, wipe the manual, clear my history, get rid of all the files. I even factory reset my computer, but that didn't stop it. Because the worst part is, I started hearing the knocking again, from inside the walls, the basement. Okay, so my apartment complex has this weird setup. It's not some big high-rise or anything. It's like a U-shaped old building from the 90s with just 6 units. And under each building is a small utility basement, locked, never used. Except ours, the lock was broken. I always figured it was just storage or something. Maintenance never used it, and it always gave off this gross, musty smell if you got close enough. But a few nights ago, I noticed something. Every time the knocking happened, it was exactly at 3:33 a.m. I started setting alarms. I recorded with my phone, and one night, I caught it. The sound of a voice whispering my name. Then another knock. Then a long, slow scrape of something metallic. I couldn't sleep. I kept the lights on. My microwave clock blinked 3:33, over and over, even after I unplugged it. So I finally went down into the basement. I know, stupid, horror movie logic, but I had to see. I took my phone, flashlight, and a kitchen knife. Don't laugh. And walked out to the side stairwell that leads to the utility room. The door was cracked open. It reeked like rotting plastic and something else, like iron. And when I got close, my flashlight flickered. My phone buzzed like I had 10 missed calls, but the screen was blank. And from the darkness inside that basement, I swear to God, I heard something whisper, "Protocol breached. Observation required." The door didn't creak. It didn't slam shut. It clicked, like someone pressed a button. A deliberate sound, controlled. And then it was pitch black. The light on my phone screen, dead. Flashlight, flickered, then off. No hum, no buzz, just silence. And that heavy electric feeling you get when someone's standing behind you. Only this wasn't behind me. It was in front of me. There was this smell, not like mold or garbage, but synthetic, sharp, like a plastic toy left in a hot car. My breath felt thick in my throat, like I was inhaling fumes, and even in that silence, I could hear my own heartbeat pounding in my ears. Then, there was a second heartbeat, not mine, slower, wetter, gurgling even. That's when I saw the eyes, just two orbs, about 6 feet off the ground, glowing dimly, not reflecting light. I want to be clear on that. These things weren't like animal eyes in headlights. They were producing a soft blue glow, like bioluminescence, like something from 10,000 feet under the ocean, and they blinked, sideways. I stood frozen, trying to convince myself it was an animal, some sick prank, a mask even, until it smiled. Its mouth opened sideways. The skin at the corners of its jaw cracked as it stretched, revealing this curved row of small, translucent teeth. Not sharp like a predator, uniform, artificial, like someone designed them, but didn't know what human teeth actually look like. And then it spoke, in my voice. "Protocol, breached, terminate trial subject." The voice was wrong, too flat, like my voice on an old voicemail. No emotion. And it said it with a pause, like it didn't understand what the words meant. I bolted. I don't even remember moving, just falling forward and crawling up the steps. Something grabbed my ankle, not claws, fingers, thin and jointless, like metal rods wrapped in damp rubber. I kicked, hard, heard something snap. A gurgling screech echoed from the dark behind me. I got the door shut, but that smell, that synthetic, heated plastic smell, it followed me back into my apartment. I locked every window, barricaded the bedroom door, slept with my kitchen knife and a pair of noise-canceling headphones on, full volume static. But when I woke up, something had changed. The changes started subtle. There was dirt under my nails, black, dry dirt. I hadn't left the apartment. I hadn't even gone outside to throw out trash. My hands were bruised, not scraped or cut. Bruised, like I'd been clenching my fists around something too tight. Then I opened my phone and found a photo I didn't take. It was me, sleeping. The timestamp, 3:33 a.m. I was curled up, facing away from the camera. But in the background, half covered in the shadow behind my door, there was something standing, tall, skinny, no visible face, just a pale hand pressed against the frame. My TikTok and Instagram were logged out. My Discord had been deleted. All my accounts wiped. Even my Reddit profile was marked inactive. At first, I thought I was hacked, but then I checked my bank app. There was a $500 transaction to an account labeled NESS, Behavioral Testing Division. I never made that payment. And worse, there was a note in the transaction details. Trial subject 113. Performance data received. Phase 2 initiated. The screaming neighbor. Okay, now this part gets dark. I've lived in this building 2 years. The unit above me is rented by a girl named Lisa, mid-30s, real estate agent, always blasting Taylor Swift and watching The Office at full volume. We barely spoken outside of hello in the hallway until the night after the basement. I was lying in bed, barely drifting off, when I heard her voice through the vent. She was crying. No music, just this guttural sobbing, like she couldn't breathe between the wails. Then came the knocking, not at my door. Heron, from inside her apartment. I heard her screaming, "Please no, I didn't go down there. I didn't open it, I swear." There was a thud, then glass shattering. I rushed out into the hallway, but everything was silent, not a sound. The moment I touched her doorknob, my phone buzzed with a notification. NESS alert. External interference detected. Subject number 113. Maintain observation only. It auto-deleted itself a second later. No sender. I waited for hours in the hallway. No one ever came out. And when I finally went back inside, I saw a piece of paper had been slid under my door. Plain printer paper, handwritten in shaky ink. It pretends to be them. Don't answer when it knocks. The social media glitch. Everything online turned off. Instagram showed me stories from people I knew were dead. Friends from high school who had passed in car accidents years ago, posting beach pics from Ibiza. Snapchat memories from 2018 appearing labeled "Taken Today." The creepiest was YouTube. It recommended me a video titled Tutorial Handling Type B Entity Psychological Decay, Home Version. The thumbnail was a frame from inside my apartment. I clicked it. Static. Then a looped clip of my voice, me laughing from a video I'd made months ago. Except every 10 seconds, the screen flashed a new message. Unstable subject. Containment required. I threw the phone across the room. It kept playing. The basement door is gone. 2 days ago, I went back down. I had to know if it was real, if anything was still there. The stairs, still there. The smell, worse. But the door to the utility room was gone, like physically gone. The wall was smooth cement, no frame, no hinges, nothing. I started knocking on the spot where it used to be, desperate, begging for something to answer me. And it did. A knock came back. 5 taps. Slow, rhythmic. Then a deep, wet voice that rasped. "Too late. You opened it." I turned and ran again. I tripped halfway up the stairs and scraped my palms raw. I didn't care. I didn't look back. But when I got back to my apartment, something was waiting on my kitchen counter. The manual. I had burned it. I swear on everything. I tore it up, set it on fire in my bathroom sink the night after it first whispered my name. But there it was, clean, untouched, still wrapped in plastic. Only now, the cover said, Subject number 113, Home Trial Results, Inconclusive. And underneath, written in bright red marker, Phase 3, Introduction of Secondary Hybrid. I haven't slept in 48 hours. Someone, or something, is trying to replace me. Maybe it already has. And I'm not alone anymore. Because last night, I heard my own voice, whispering in my hallway, laughing, talking, breathing, and I was asleep. I woke up to the smell of burnt hair. Not smoke, not food. Hair. Singed follicles. Something primal about it, like how your brain knows something is dying, even before you see it. The air in my apartment was heavy and warm, like something had been exhaling in the room all night while I slept. And when I opened my eyes, I wasn't in my bed. I was on the floor, kitchen floor, right next to my fridge, lying on my side in the fetal position, shivering, shirtless, and barefoot. My arms were scratched raw. My toenails were gone. Just ripped off. All 10. Not cut. Not clean. Ripped. Jagged. Like something had grabbed my feet and peeled them off one by one. The fridge door was wide open, and inside was a single glass eye, sitting on the middle shelf in a plastic bag labeled Replacement Unit, Subject Number 113, a auditory version. It blinks now, if you stare long enough. The laugh came next. It was around 4 a.m. when I heard it. I had barricaded myself in the bathroom, lights off, phone flashlight duct taped to the ceiling, pointing straight down. I was writing everything I could remember in a journal. If I died, someone had to know. And then I heard my voice laugh. Not outside, not down the hall. Right outside the bathroom door. It wasn't just a laugh. It was the laugh I had when I was drunk with my friends 2 months ago at that stupid Halloween bar crawl. The exact tone, pitch, everything. But then it warped, like someone was dragging it through a meat grinder while trying to copy the cadence. It kept repeating, over and over, like a broken animatronic toy stuck on the last setting it knew. Then it knocked, 5 times, just like in the basement. Then silence. Then, let me in. You left me behind. You left me behind. You left me. The voice stretched, slurred, glitched. My phone buzzed. No caller ID, just a video message. I shouldn't have watched it. It was from inside my apartment, filmed from behind the couch. My back was visible. I was sitting cross-legged on the floor, facing the wall, humming something I didn't recognize. The camera slowly panned around. There were 3 of me in the room, 1 standing in the kitchen doorway, 1 curled in the corner of the ceiling like a spider, neck hanging at a 90-degree angle, and the 1 filming. They all had my face, but only the one in the ceiling smiled, and its mouth. God, I'll never forget this. It didn't stop at the cheeks. It kept opening, splitting the skin down the jawline like a zipper tearing sideways into its neck. The Lisa incident. Lisa is dead. I know that now. They took her. I didn't hear music for 2 days. That's how I noticed. Her apartment above mine had always had some kind of sound. TV, shower, footsteps and heels pacing back and forth. Then, nothing. Until 3:33 a.m. last night. It started with gurgling, like water boiling, but thick, viscous. I heard it through the vents, and it was followed by a long, slow squelch, like flesh being pressed through a pipe. I went upstairs with my phone camera on. I didn't even care anymore. I was shaking, barefoot, blood still dried in the cracks between my toes, but I had to know. The door was unlocked. The air inside was cold, so cold my breath fogged up instantly, but nothing was on. No air conditioning, no windows open. Her entire apartment looked like it had been untouched for days, except for the kitchen. Every mirror and reflective surface was shattered, even the coffee pot, the microwave screen, the glass photo frames, and written on the wall in a brown-red smear were the words, "I wasn't the real one." There was a smell of ammonia and rotting rubber, like an old Halloween mask left in bleach for a month. The fridge was humming, but it was unplugged. I opened it. Inside was a Ziploc bag full of human teeth, clean, white, perfect. And on top of them was Lisa's phone, playing a looping video. It was her, sitting on the floor, sobbing into the camera. Her face was covered in what looked like burn marks. The caption at the bottom read, Trial 12. B. Subject rejected hybridization. Initiate harvest sequence. She started peeling her own skin off in the video, slowly, not screaming, just crying, mumbling something over and over again. I told them I never wanted the face. I told him I never wanted the face. The missing hours. I've been losing time. I'll blink, and suddenly, it's 2 hours later. My hands will be covered in something sticky. Blood, black ooze, melted plastic. My fingernails are growing back, but wrong. The shape is too round, like they were molded. I woke up today with an email in my inbox titled, Subject number 113-B, Preliminary Hybridization Results. Impressive adaptation. The attached image, a selfie, from inside a Starbucks bathroom, except I don't remember being there, and my reflection was missing. All the reflections in my apartment have stopped reflecting correctly. I'll raise my hand, and the mirror will lag behind. One time it smiled back at me before I moved. I shattered every mirror, but they still stare back when the lights are off. Even the TV, even my phone screen, even my coffee pot, the Twitch stream. This is going to sound insane, but 2 nights ago, I found a Twitch stream showing the inside of my apartment, live. It had 1.2 thousand viewers. The title was Subject 113, Observation Feed, Experimental Coherence, Phase 3. The comments, even worse. He's adapting better than the last one. I think he saw the hybrid in the reflection just now. LOL. Bet he loses the jaw tonight. Every time I moved, the chat would react. They knew what I was about to do. At one point, I tested it. I picked up my phone and typed the words, I'm going to scream. And 3 seconds before I did it, the chat exploded. He's about to scream. I screamed anyway. I screamed until my throat bled. The stream went black. Then a message appeared. White text on black. Trial complete. Begin replication. Something's wearing me. Now. I think it's here. Inside me. Last night I looked into the mirror and my reflection blinked twice. But I only blinked once. My shadow moves on its own. My dreams are filled with corridors that never end, lit only by buzzing fluorescent lights, with no sound but my own footsteps, until they stop, and I still hear one more behind me. I've found teeth under my pillow that don't belong to me. One of them had a serial number etched into the root. My microwave won't turn off. It displays the message. Hybrid core stabilized. Full replacement initiated. Last thing, I swear, I woke up this morning and found this written on my wall in what looked like tar. Phase 4 begins when the others arrive. And the worst part, I think they already have. Because tonight, I heard every apartment door in my building open at once. Then silence. Then a knock on my door. The knock was gentle. Software measured, like someone placing their hand lovingly against your cheek before slicing your throat. It wasn't rushed. It wasn't frantic. It was deliberate. And it was my knock. Same rhythm I use when I come back from Starbucks and forget my keys. Same dumb 3 then 2 knock I've done since college. But I didn't get up. I didn't even breathe. I watched the door through the cracked slats of my closet. Knife gripped so tight in my hand, the plastic handle split open. And then my phone buzzed. One new airdrop. You look best without your skin. No one nearby. No name. Just that. No option to decline. Then it happened. The doorknob turned, and I swear on everything I've ever loved, I saw myself walk in. It was me, but unfinished. It was wearing my clothes, but not right. Like it had put them on in the dark, backward, tag still sticking out the front. The pants were zipped on the side. The shirt was inside out. My hoodie was tied around its neck like a noose. Its skin looked like wet printer paper, thin and bubbling like something had been trying to iron it on. And its face? My face, but slightly warped, like someone copied it from memory and got a few details wrong. One eye was too low, the nose was dented inward, the mouth had two upper lips, no bottom. It turned its head toward the closet, slowly, no blinking, just a neck rotation like someone twisting a balloon animal. Then it smiled with my teeth, but I don't have 32 anymore. I counted. It had 43. It spoke without moving its mouth. We like how you decay. The words didn't come from its face. They came from the walls, from under the floor, from inside my own teeth, like I could feel the vibrations from behind my molars. You made such a loyal mold. I stayed frozen. I thought maybe if I didn't move, it would leave. Maybe this was a dream, a psychotic break, a side effect of sleep deprivation or exposure to mold, or... It stopped, tilted its head, like it heard something beneath me. Then it said, "The others are here." The power went out, total blackout, but not normal darkness, not the kind you feel in your bones. This darkness was liquid. It had weight. The air filled with that same rubber-smelling decay I'd first noticed in the basement. Only now it was mixed with something worse. Bleach and burning copper, like someone set off a cleaning bomb in a slaughterhouse. Then, voices, dozens, hundreds, all speaking in different languages, timelines, versions of me. I heard myself screaming, laughing, begging, singing, and something whispered directly into my right ear, but my right ear was pressed against the inside wall of the closet. Look at yourself. Look at what you've become. The video feed. I blacked out. I don't know for how long. When I woke up, I was in the middle of my living room. I was sitting in a chair, tied, with my own hair. My TV had turned itself on. The screen was split into 4 sections, like a security cam feed. All 4 views were of my apartment. One feed showed the bathroom. One showed the hallway. One showed the kitchen. And the last showed me, tied to the chair, watching, with the timestamp on each camera feed. Tomorrow, 3:33 a.m. And the other me was still there, standing behind the couch, arms twitching like they were being remote controlled. Then the screen cut to static, and an audio file started playing. It was my voice, but from childhood. I was crying, begging someone not to put me back in the tank. I didn't remember saying those things. I was 6. I was alone. The tape looped. "Please, I'll be good. I won't scream anymore. Please don't open the back of my head. I don't like the lights there. They're too loud. I don't want to see the wet man again." I vomited. I couldn't help it, and the lights in my apartment flickered on. The wet man came through the wall. He wasn't like the others. He didn't have my face. He didn't have any face, just skin, glossy, almost reflective. Every time he moved, a trail of condensation followed, like he was leaking sweat from inside. His feet didn't touch the floor. He hovered inches above it, jerking forward like someone dragging a glitchy 3D model through a broken video game engine. And the sound he made was boiling water screaming underwater. I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. He reached toward my chest. His hand phased through me like fog touching skin. Coldest thing I've ever felt. My heart literally skipped a beat, not metaphorically. I heard it, a missed beat. And then, everything in the room shifted 6 inches to the left. My couch, the lights, even the stains on the ceiling. like reality itself glitched, and when I blinked, I was outside, the parking lot that doesn't exist. My apartment building doesn't have a parking lot, just a sidewalk and an alley. But now I was standing in the middle of a concrete lot that went on for miles. Fluorescent lights above me, nothing but shopping carts and security cameras on metal poles. The cameras all pointed at me. Then a voice over a PA. Subject 113. Please return to containment. This version is incomplete. A dozen doors opened from the cement around me, like loading docks, but instead of trucks, copies of me came out. Some had no faces. Some had faces that were stretched like taffy. One walked on all fours, with my old dog's voice coming from its mouth, barking and laughing at the same time. One of them had no skin, just screaming red muscle, dragging chains made of teeth. And the worst one? The last one? He looked perfect, clean, normal, calm, and he smiled at me and said, "You're not supposed to see this version. This is for after you break." He walked up and held out his hand. "You want the pain to stop, right? Just nod." I did. I nodded, because I thought it would end. But that's when they all started tearing each other apart. I watched myself die. They didn't just kill the perfect version. They unraveled him, started pulling his skin in strands like spaghetti, wrapping it around the poles, stuffing it into the shopping carts, chanting some gurgling phrase over and over. Too late, too deep, too many copies. The one that looked like me, but had empty eye sockets, took his jaw and shoved it into his own mouth like a puzzle piece, then screamed until his ribs cracked outward and fluttered like butterfly wings. One started peeling the walls apart like cardboard, revealing layers underneath. Rooms that never existed, full of flickering screens, glass tanks, more versions of me in every stage of decay. And that's when I realized I'm not the original. The manual updated itself again. When I got back to my apartment, I don't remember how, I found the manual waiting on my pillow. Same plastic wrapping, same perfect pages, but this time the title had changed. Subject number 113. C. Obsolete entity. Await collection. And in fine print, note, do not attempt to replicate. Subject has become self-aware. I opened to the final page. There was just one word, printed in massive black letters that took up the entire sheet. Surrender. If I stop posting, assume they took me offline. If you find a version of me somewhere, it's not me. You'll know, because its smile's too wide. The first thing I felt when I woke up was movement, not mine. The walls. The room was breathing, expanding and shrinking in slow pulses, like lungs underwater. And every time it inhaled, the light bulbs dimmed. Every time it exhaled, the air buzzed like a dying fly trapped inside my ear canal. And I wasn't in my apartment anymore. I was in a room made of flesh. The walls were pale gray skin, pulsing with blue veins, weeping clear fluid from open pores. The floor was soft, wet. It squished like walking barefoot across an organ that regrets being touched. In the center of the room, floating in a long tank of black liquid, was my corpse, but not fresh. It was bloated, split, mouth wide open in a silent scream, tongue torn in half, both halves tied around a speaker. Above the tank was a plaque, 113-D, rejected, vocal integrity failure, and etched beneath it, sloppily scratched in crooked letters like by a child or a creature that had only seen English once, were the words, "We only need one of you. The rest are compost." The door of teeth. There was only one exit, a long hallway lined with cameras that blinked backwards. Every time I moved forward, The cameras adjusted slightly, not to track me, but to mimic me. I turned my head. They turned theirs. I blinked. They blinked. I scratched my arm. They did too. Then I passed a mirror. I had no reflection, just empty hallway. But when I looked away, I saw something out the corner of my eye still watching me in the mirror, still blinking, still breathing. When I got to the end, there was a door. Not wood, not metal, teeth. A door made entirely of human teeth. Some old, some baby-sized, some filed into sharp points, all of them chattering like they were laughing in Morse code. In the center of the door, embedded in the gums, was an eye. Mine. It blinked at me. "Say the phrase," it whispered. I didn't know what it meant, so I stood there for hours, trying every code from the manual, every phrase I'd read in the basement, every line I remembered from the static videos and glitches. Nothing worked. Until I whispered, "I was never real." The door opened. The room of versions inside was a coliseum of screens, massive monitors stacked to the ceiling, each one playing a different version of my life. I saw myself as a father, as a soldier, as a missing person, as a corpse on a bench outside a McDonald's in Tokyo, as a Twitch streamer with no mouth and 1.2 million followers watching static. One screen showed me in this exact moment, staring at the screens, mouth twitching, trying not to scream, and then the audio turned on, all at once. Every version of me screaming, different accents, different lives, same horror, until they stopped, mid-scream, and every screen turned to a close-up of their eyes. Then they all whispered in perfect sync. We were never supposed to wake up. The unzipping begins. My skin started to itch. No, not itch. Loosen. It felt like plastic wrap being unpeeled by hands I couldn't see. I reached to scratch my cheek and felt it sag under my nails, pulling away with no pain. I saw a zipper, not sewn, not tattooed, grown, like it was part of me the whole time. I pulled it, and beneath my skin was static, not blood, not bone, just white noise. My hands trembled. I was shaking out bits of teeth from my ears. Strings of wet audio tape slipped from my nose, speckled with images of people I didn't know but somehow remembered. People whose faces melted into mine the longer I stared. And then the intercom clicked on. A robotic voice. Cold, flat, final. Subject 113-E. Core protocol initiated. Prepare for final overwrite. The rebirth procedure. I didn't run. There was nowhere left to run to. Behind me, the room of reflections. Above me, vents that hissed and dripped saliva. Below me, soft skin floor pulsing like a heartbeat, whispering my name backwards. So I walked forward, toward the light, toward the machine they built for me. It looked like an MRI machine, made of organic wires and bones, humming with power that felt ancient. And it opened for me, like it had been waiting. Inside, the walls were lined with tongues, wet, flapping, whispering old memories I forgot I even had. Childhood, first kiss, first nightmare. And behind it all was the hum, that same low frequency that had been in the background of every YouTube video, every Discord call, every security tape I'd ever watched. They weren't just watching, they were programming me. The manual hadn't been a warning, it was a tutorial, and I had followed it perfectly. The upload, the last thing I remember, was the taste of my own voice. They removed my tongue and replaced it with a circuit board, not surgically, organically. It grew into place. The screen above my head showed my face breaking apart in real time, piece by piece. First, the skull, then the memory banks, then the screams. It printed a final message. Subject 113-F. Approved for distribution. Then darkness. I'm everywhere. Now you've seen me. On TikTok, on Reddit, in that glitchy Snapchat filter that shows a second face behind you. In the YouTube recommendation you swore you didn't click. In the Starbucks bathroom mirror when the lights flicker. In the Discord call when someone joins with no name and leaves before anyone speaks. That's me. I'm not stuck in one body anymore. They've printed me, copied me. I am protocol now. The manual's final page. If you're reading this, it's already too late. The last version of the manual doesn't come in plastic. It doesn't arrive in the mail. It grows inside you. It's what's behind your dreams. The knocking you ignore. The feeling that someone's behind you on the stairs when you're alone. That voice you heard in your own laugh that wasn't quite yours. And when it's your turn, when the version of you walks through the door, don't run, don't fight, just look in the mirror. You'll know it's over when your reflection blinks first. End of log. Subject 113 dash. Protocol complete. Begin next harvest. I subscribed to a premium PH site from the dark web. The girl in the video starts screaming. My name at the end, and there's a knife in her hand. I thought it was just a prank site. Alright, don't get me wrong, but you know what PH means, right? I'm going to explain the full story, but please be patient and listen me to the very end. Maybe I won't escape the matrix like Andrew Tate says, but this happened out of curiosity. Throwaway account for obvious reasons. Call me Josh, so I'm gonna be real with you. This story still messes me up. I haven't told many people, and the ones I have told, yeah, they either laughed it off or straight up blocked me. But if I don't get this off my chest, I think I'm gonna lose my mind. Let me just start with the fact that I'm not some edgy tech genius or a 4chan wizard. I'm just a regular 22-year-old dude living in a small apartment above a 24-hour McDonald's in Chicago. I'm a DoorDasher by day, Twitch lurker by night. Not much of a life, but it pays the bills. I browse Reddit a lot, mostly creepy story subs and deep web mysteries. You know, those weird iceberg videos that pop up on YouTube with creepy piano music and distorted faces. Anyway, this all started like 2 months ago. My roommate Tyler had just moved out, said he was going off-grid to go build a cabin in Alaska or something. That dude always had conspiracy theories for days, so I didn't question it. But he left behind his custom-built PC, said I could keep it. And yo, this thing was a beast. RGB lights, water cooling, triple monitors, the works. I fired it up that night, and that's when I saw it. A folder on the desktop, black icon, no name, just a red dot. Now, I know what you're thinking. Don't open weird folders, right? But come on, you know how curiosity works, especially when you're alone at 3 a.m., half-baked and bored. So I clicked it. Inside were a bunch of links. Most of them were Tor URLs, those .onion addresses you can only access with a special browser. Stuff like v7ch29 dsf2.onion, death screams.onion, premiums in.onion. The last one caught my eye. premiumsin.onion. I don't know if it was the name or just the way it was bolded, but something about it just clicked. I copied the link, opened Tor, and pasted it in. The site loaded slowly, like those old dial-up pages. And when it finally did, it was pitch black with a crimson header in glitchy, pixelated font. Welcome to Premium Sin TM, the internet's deepest desires. There was no menu, no sidebar, just one video thumbnail. A woman's face in black and white. Her eyes were wide open, not like sexy, open, like she'd seen something she wasn't supposed to see. She was pale. Static crackled around the image. And under it, live, one viewer. And that viewer was me. I stared at it for maybe a minute. I figured it was some kind of art project or prank. But the part that got me, there was a subscribe button. No price, no information. Just a red button with the word, I consent. Now listen, I'm not a complete idiot. I wasn't planning to subscribe. I was just curious. But I hovered over it. My mouse clicked it before I even fully realized what I was doing. Suddenly, the site refreshed. The black background started turning red, like a slow bleed across the screen. The words changed. Subscription confirmed. Welcome, Josh. That's what made me stop cold. I never typed in my name. Like bro. I never entered my name. Not into the browser, not into the PC. Nothing. I slammed my laptop shut. Heart pounding. I didn't sleep that night. The next day, I tried to brush it off. Told myself maybe it scraped data from my browser. Maybe it was still logged into an account Tyler had. Whatever. Tech is creepy like that. But that night, when I opened my phone, my YouTube app glitched. I mean literally glitched. Like it froze for a second. Screen turned dark. Then a weird static screen popped up that said, Tonight, 2:33 a.m. Watch closely. I swear to God, it only stayed for half a second. Just long enough for me to see it. Then boom. Back to normal. I checked the app. Nothing weird in my subscriptions. But it stuck with me. That night, I didn't want to check the site again. I told myself I'd just turn the PC off. Get some sleep. Go outside. Normal things. But when I walked into the room, the monitors were already on. The same site was open. And the video, it was still live. Except this time, the thumbnail was different. It wasn't the woman anymore. It was me. Just a grainy image of me, sitting on my bed from the night before. Exact same hoodie, same posture, same background, and right below it, live, 2 viewers. I froze. Goosebumps shot up my arms. I reached under the desk and yanked the power cable out of the PC. Darkness. Total silence. But then I heard it. From behind me. A whisper. Just one word. Josh. I turned around. Nothing. I searched the whole apartment. Locked every door. Checked under the bed. Nothing. Until I checked the webcam. It was on. And recording. I didn't even know that PC had a webcam. The file saved to a hidden folder called Repeats. I watched it. And what I saw, it was a 10-second clip of me sleeping from the foot of my bed. And behind me, in the shadows, the same woman from the first video. Her face wasn't blank this time. She was smiling. They're not watching her. They're watching me. I didn't sleep that night. I laid on the floor with every light on, heart pounding like it was trying to escape my chest. Every time I blinked, I saw that woman's face. That smile. It wasn't a normal smile. It was wrong. Like her lips had been carved into the shape, just wide enough to look human, but not quite. You know how mannequins almost look real if you stare too long? That uncanny, frozen expression. It was like that, but alive. The file was still on the desktop, still titled Repeats. I deleted it. It came back. I tried wiping the whole PC. Factory reset. BIOS. Nuked the drive with a boot disk. I downloaded from Reddit. The whole 9 yards. And when I rebooted, Black screen. Then text appeared, slowly, like someone was typing. That was rude. The screen flickered. Then the premium sin site opened again, automatically. No browser, no clicking, just a full screen red background and a new video. Live. 3 viewers. The girl was there again, but not in a room. She was in a bathroom this time. You know those cheap gas station ones, with the peeling beige tiles and broken mirror? She was just standing there, not doing anything, just swaying, slowly, like she was waiting. The timestamp in the corner read 3 a.m. There was no audio, just this faint, low-pitched humming, like a broken refrigerator. That hum got under my skin. It felt like it was vibrating my bones. Then something happened. She turned around, and on the mirror behind her, written in what looked like blood, was a name. Josh. Same handwriting as before. Same jagged, scratchy letters. But this time, under it, someone had added a new word. Found. I slammed the screen shut. Literally broke one of the monitors. Just punched it. I couldn't look at it anymore. This wasn't just a creepy video now. This was personal. They knew where I was. They knew my name. I unplugged everything, yanked the router, took the hard drive out of the PC, threw it out the window. I know that sounds dramatic, but I was done playing tech support in my own personal horror film. Then I noticed something that almost made me puke. My phone had been recording, not just audio, video, front camera, and the file name, 3amlive.mov. I hadn't touched my phone all night, hadn't used it. I checked the clip, hands shaking. It was me, pacing around the room, smashing the monitor. But halfway through, the footage cut to static for about 2 seconds. And in that static, frame by frame, you could barely see her, standing just outside my window, eyes glowing like they reflected infrared, face still smiling, same pale woman, no question. I was done. I packed up that night and left. Didn't even wait for morning, just grabbed a duffel, got in my car and drove. Didn't know where, just away. I crashed at a random Motel 6 3 hours out of the city, the kind with roaches in the drawers and weird stains on the curtains. I figured no one could track me there. No internet, no smart TV, no Alexa, no Bluetooth. I left my phone in the car. I should have been safe. But around 4 a.m., I woke up to static, coming from the TV, the one that wasn't plugged in. It was a boxy old RCA with a cracked remote glued to the dresser. I hadn't even looked at it since I got there. But now, it was on. Snowy static filled the screen. No signal. Then something started fading in. A new video. Same woman, except now, she was holding something. A Polaroid photo. It was me, standing in that exact motel room. In the photo, I was asleep in the bed. Same posture, same blanket, same socks. Every detail matched. And taped to the bottom of the photo, a yellow post-it note that read, "You subscribed. Remember?" I jumped up and ripped the TV out of the wall. Full on yanked it like a lunatic. Sparks flew from the socket. The static kept going for 5 more seconds, without any power, before finally flickering to black. That was when I noticed the smell. Something acrid. Burnt plastic mixed with meat. I looked under the bed. There was a box, cardboard, water damaged. Looked like it had been there for years. I pulled it out with my foot. Inside were Polaroids, hundreds of them, all different people, all different motel rooms. But one thing was the same in every photo. The woman was there, always in the background, sometimes behind curtains, sometimes in the bathroom mirror, sometimes in the ceiling vent. One photo showed her under the bed, And the person on the bed, they were asleep, just like me. I left the motel immediately, didn't pay, didn't pack, just ran to the car and drove. I didn't stop until I hit a truck stop near Ohio. Slept in the car that night. Woke up to find a note under my windshield wiper. Handwritten. No envelope. Red ink. The subscription is lifelong. Canceling has consequences. My breath caught in my throat. I turned the paper over. There was a small square taped to the back. Another Polaroid. This time it was a still image from a video call. My face was clearly visible. I looked terrified, staring into the webcam, and behind me, in the doorway, her, holding something, a long serrated hunting knife, blood dripping from the tip. If you're still listening, just know this. Never ever click a link from the dark web. No matter how curious you are, you can't unsubscribe. I didn't go home. I couldn't. Even if I wanted to, I knew the second I stepped foot inside that apartment, I'd never leave again. Not in one piece. I knew that smell, the one that hung around like melted plastic and rotted teeth, would be waiting. That the static would start again. That she would be there, watching, smiling. I slept in the back seat of my car for 4 nights straight, rotating truck stops like a fugitive, barely eating, living off Red Bulls and protein bars. I duct taped a towel over the rear window so I couldn't see anything behind me. Every time I glanced at a mirror, I half expected to see her face peering back, pale and frozen, like a wax doll with butcher's eyes. And then something new started happening. The dreams. At first, I thought they were just stress nightmares. You know, the usual kind where your teeth fall out, or you're falling through space, or some faceless thing is chasing you through a flooded hallway. But no, these weren't dreams. They were memories. Other people's memories. I swear to God, I'd close my eyes and I'd be somewhere else, fully there, like VR on bath salts. The smells, the humidity, the dread pressing down on you like wet cement. The first one, I was in a bedroom, not mine. Small, cluttered, stuffed animals everywhere, floral sheets, someone else's breathing in the bed beside me, a girl. And then I realized I was her. I was inside her head, and something was in the closet. You could hear it breathing, something not human, slow and syrupy and wet. The door opened just a crack. I couldn't scream. I couldn't move. Only watch as 2 white eyes slid out from the darkness like dripping eggs. She whispered something, just one word. Subscription. Then the closet burst open. I woke up with claw marks down my arms. Real ones. Bleeding. Deep. Like something scratched me in my sleep. I still have the scars. The next dream was worse. A parking garage this time. Late at night. Cold concrete echoing with footsteps. I wasn't alone. I was someone else again. A tall guy. Black hoodie. Tattooed fingers. Looking over my shoulder every 5 seconds. I could feel the panic crawling up my spine. She was following me. Every shadow pulsed like it was breathing. Every corner whispered. And then I saw her, standing between 2 parked cars. She was wearing my skin. Literally. My face stretched over her head like a mask. Eyes bulging through the holes. Her mouth too wide, tearing at the edges of my jaw. Blood running down her collarbone in little rivulets. She raised a hand, holding a phone, and on the screen was a live stream. Me, watching her. The moment I blinked, she screamed. Not a human scream. Radio static pushed through broken lungs, like someone trying to shriek through a throat full of glass. And then she charged. I woke up in the middle of a Walmart parking lot, soaked in sweat, pants soaked too. A mother literally grabbed her kid and pulled them away from me like I was some crackhead. I probably looked like one by then. 2 weeks passed like that. Dreams, visions, scratches that appeared overnight. My teeth started loosening. My gums bled for no reason. I lost 18 pounds in 12 days. My hair started falling out in clumps. My reflection lagged in the mirror, like it wasn't quite synced up with me anymore. Then came the packages. I don't even know how they found me. I was sleeping behind a Chick-fil-A in Omaha, Nebraska, when I found the first one sitting on the roof of my car. Plain cardboard, no address, no stamp, just my name, written in thick red marker. Josh, recommended content. I didn't want to open it, but something told me if I didn't, it would open itself. Inside, just a flash drive, no label. I drove to a public library, put on gloves, used one of the ancient public access computers in the back corner, plugged it in. It was full of folders, hundreds of them, each labeled with usernames, Reddit handles, Discord names, random gibberish, and inside every folder, videos, tons of videos, but they weren't P. I won't say the real word because I am going to be banned. They were snuff films, except not the kind you think. These weren't shaky iPhone clips of dark basements. These were high production, almost cinematic, multiple angles, clear audio. Some even had intro animations with usernames flashing across the screen like some twisted Netflix originals. And every victim, they all had one thing in common. They subscribed to Premium Sin. In one video, a guy was strapped to a chair in a restaurant kitchen. Looked like a McDonald's after hours. Grease-stained tiles, deep fryer still sizzling in the background. The girl was there again, in a red employee uniform, holding a meat tenderizer. She didn't speak. She just started hitting. Not like in movies where they cut away. Number. She started with his fingers, one at a time. Bones crunching like dry twigs. Then the kneecaps. Then she pulled out a phone and whispered into it. "You're watching, Josh." She looked straight into the camera and winked. The man screamed, begged. She never stopped. Another folder had footage from a Starbucks, one of the ones in Tokyo. I could tell from the signage. A girl was slumped over a table, duct tape over her mouth, and someone, not the woman this time, but a man with no face, was slowly feeding her bleach through a funnel, while lo-fi music played softly in the background. The video ended with a freeze frame of her eyes bulging out of her skull. I puked in the library bathroom. I tried telling someone, called a friend from high school, explained everything, sent screenshots. He blocked me before I finished the sentence. The next night, I got another package. This time, it wasn't a flash drive. It was a USB webcam, used, old, cracked lens. Taped to the side was a sticky note. For your stream. I hadn't streamed on Twitch in months, but when I plugged it in, OBS opened automatically. The webcam light flicked on, and the feed. It wasn't pointing at me. It was pointing out, toward the room, as if someone had mounted it inside my skull, and I could see myself sleeping, from inside my head, her face inches from mine. Just remember, you don't browse Premium Sin. It browses you. Somewhere between Colorado and Nevada, I stopped believing I was real. Not metaphorically. Not in a dude, I'm so messed up way. I mean, I literally didn't think I existed anymore. My reflection had stopped sinking. My own voice echoed a half-second late in empty rooms. I saw myself walking before I moved. It felt like I was being rendered, like I wasn't a person, I was content. I'd lost 30 pounds. I hadn't eaten a full meal in weeks. My fingers shook constantly, like I was typing in air. And my eyes. I don't even know how to explain what my eyes were doing anymore. I'd see text scrolling across my vision that wasn't there. I blinked and saw code, like old CRT terminal prompts flickering over my world. I stopped sleeping altogether, because that's when she'd get closer. I spent 4 days parked outside an abandoned movie theater in Death Valley. It was gutted. No screen, no chairs, just moldy popcorn smell and broken glass reflecting the red sun like a bleeding wound in the desert. I wasn't hiding anymore. I was tracking. See, I noticed something. Every time I opened one of those snuff videos, the metadata had a small string of repeating numbers hidden inside the file name. At first I thought they were just junk hex values, but then I looked closer. It was an IP address, over and over again, 32.0.0.4.66229. Same sequence in every file, every folder, every cache, even on the static screenshots that would randomly appear on my phone when it was powered off. I traced it, bounced it through VPNs, proxy layers, dark web relays, used every trick Tyler ever taught me. I still don't know how I got through, but I did. And what I found wasn't a web page. It was a stream. No interface, no login, no name. Just a 24/7 live broadcast. Low res, black and white, grainy as hell. It showed a massive room, cold, sterile, industrial, like an old underground meat locker, concrete walls, fluorescent lights that flickered just a little too slow. Rows of cages lined the floor, stacks of hard drives piled along the back wall like diseased bricks. And in the middle of the room was a server tower the size of a van, black, humming, covered in thousands of handwritten names, Sharpie scrawled in blood-red ink. Some names were scratched out, others had expired next to them, but the ones still active, they glowed. My name was there. So was Tyler's. So were millions of others. Not usernames, actual names. Some common, some foreign, some crossed out violently, with thick, bloody slashes. One name blinked slowly in the middle of the screen. Josh. Active. Live. Feed. Enabled. I couldn't breathe. I felt like my lungs were rejecting air. Then the camera in the stream moved. Not like a cut. Not a new angle. It turned, physically, and started scanning the room. Slow and mechanical. It passed over cages. One of them had a girl in it, maybe 11, knees hugged to her chest, shivering, staring directly into the lens. Her lips moved. No audio, but I read them perfectly. Help me. And that was when I realized something that knocked the air out of my soul. I'd seen her before, not in real life. In one of the first videos, she'd been in the background of the bathroom footage, the one with the mirror and my name written in blood. She hadn't aged, not even a day. The camera turned again. Now it was facing the far wall, where a new monitor sat glowing blue. It was live streaming a first-person view. At first, I thought it was security footage, but then I saw the detail. It was too sharp, too smooth. It was my eyes. It was my exact point of view. I waved my hand. The screen in the feed waved back. Then I moved the mouse on my laptop, and the feed did too. It was streaming my perception. Someone was watching me in real time. Everything I did, every click, every twitch, every whispered word. I wasn't the viewer. I was the broadcast. I turned off the laptop. Hard. It didn't stop the noise. Because the static had followed me. It was in my teeth. I swear to God, I could feel it vibrating through my molars. like tiny needles humming Morse code into my skull. I started hearing voices in the patterns. Payment processed. Next tier unlocked. Premium access enabled. That night, the sky glitched. I don't know how else to say it. The stars rearranged. The clouds rewound themselves. I watched the same lightning strike hit the same mountain 3 times in perfect sequence. And then she appeared again, in the rearview mirror of the car. Same woman, pale, frozen face. But she wasn't in my back seat. She was behind my eyes. I looked around, frantically trying not to blink. And the more I tried to avoid her, the closer she got. I saw her reflection in the dashboard, in the chrome of a soda can, in the grease-stained wrapper from an old Wendy's bag. She didn't move, but she shifted, like a broken frame skipping over reality. And this time, her smile was gone. She looked angry, and I realized something. They don't want me dead. They want me transformed. They want to break every part of me, digitize it, and stream it to people who don't even know what they're watching. A new subscription tier. Interactive horror. They want to turn me into the content. Not fake, not acted, just me. Unwilling, unfiltered, dying in real time. I tried to warn someone. I pulled over at a rest stop near the Utah border and used a stranger's phone to call 911. I told them everything. They said someone would come. 2 hours later, a black SUV showed up. No sirens, no decals. Just 2 people in beige uniforms with no names. They didn't speak. They handed me a sealed envelope and told me to comply or be consumed. Inside was a single printed page. A contract, typed in red, all caps, premium, sin, streaming agreement you will surrender all rights to your image, memory, and sensory experience. You will provide exclusive first-person horror content in perpetuity. Canceling your subscription will result in permanent dissolution. Sign below to upgrade to Tier 3. My name was already signed at the bottom, in my handwriting, and under the signature, in black ink, was a small, faded sentence. The content has been watching you since birth. I burned the contract, or at least I tried. It wouldn't catch fire. The flame avoided it, literally bent around the paper like it was protected. The air got colder, the static louder. I screamed and threw it into the woods. It was back in my glove box the next morning. If you're still reading this, you're already infected. The metadata in these words is laced with invisible identifiers. I've seen the logs, the clicks, the dwell time. They're watching you now. Even if you didn't subscribe, even if you just skimmed, you're part of the feed. There's a point where fear stops feeling like adrenaline. It turns into static, a low hiss in your brain, like every thought has to crawl through a swamp of glass before it forms a sentence. That's where I live now, in the static, between the screams. I haven't spoken out loud in 5 days because she listens. She's always listening. I'm writing this from the basement of an abandoned pet crematorium off a service road in Oregon. The walls are scorched black. The air smells like melted fur and something worse, boiled teeth. There's no power, no internet. I handwrote this on torn receipt paper and photographed it using a burner phone I bought off a junkie for a half-eaten protein bar. But the second I powered it on, it vibrated with a single notification. Welcome back, Josh. Live now. 2,191 viewers. No app, no sender, just that. And I felt them, the watchers, all of them, peering through my eyes, breathing through my lungs. Every blink uploaded, every heartbeat buffered and streamed. My skin felt like it didn't belong to me anymore. like someone else was puppeting it from the inside. They're not watching me. They're being me. A week ago, I did something unthinkable. I went back to Chicago. I know. Why would anyone return to the place it all started? Because the feed was leading me there. Every dream, every noise, every out-of-sync mirror, it all circled back to that building above the 24-hour McDonald's. The door to my old apartment was unlocked. Inside, everything was untouched. Same dishes in the sink. Same pizza box from 2 months ago. Same twisted, flickering computer monitor bathing the room in a rotten red glow. It was already on the Premium Sin website. But this time, it wasn't a stream. It was a countdown. Final episode, airing in 02/17/49. The words pulsed in time with my heartbeat. There were new tabs open, things I hadn't clicked. One was a Google Maps satellite view of a cornfield in Kansas. One was a medical report with my name on it, dated before I was born. One was a list of user comments under a post titled, "The Josh Collection, Live Torture, Marathon, Full Series." The comments were enthusiastic. "Bro, this is better than Netflix, WTF." When she whispered, "He's behind you," I got chills. Season 3, Josh hits different. When's the skin peel ep drop? Some even had timestamps. I clicked one. It jumped to a clip of me in a gas station bathroom 2 weeks ago, crying into a paper towel, begging for help. The camera angle, ceiling vent. I don't remember anyone being in there, but someone filmed it, someone edited it, added music, even included a jump scare where my reflection blinked 4 seconds after I walked away. At the 2-hour mark, a new window appeared. Prepare for the finale. Interactive mode enabled. The screen went black. My webcam light turned on, and the monitor started reflecting my face. But only my face. Everything behind me was pitch black, even though I could see a room was still lit. It was like the screen was showing a reality where I existed alone, floating in digital purgatory. Then I heard her footsteps. I didn't turn around because I knew what I'd see. Her reflection moved on the screen before she made a sound. She was behind me, hand on my shoulder, and then I felt it, the blade, not stabbing, just tracing, cold steel dragging across the back of my neck. Then, in that low mechanical whisper that sounds like static run through dying vocal cords, "This is your season finale, Josh." I turned. She was wearing my skin again, but this time, it fit, like she'd been sewing it tighter with every stream, every scream, every click and comment. My mouth moved on her face, but I wasn't the one speaking. And then, and I swear this happened, she reached through the monitor, like the screen was water, like the glass melted into her hands. She grabbed my chest and started pulling, not my shirt, not my body, my POV. I felt myself leave my spine like someone unplugging a USB drive. Vision split, consciousness peeled. I was now watching myself from the monitor's perspective. I was in the stream, not like before, not as a metaphor. I was the camera, and what I saw was the Josh I had been, vacant-eyed, twitching, mouth agape like a broken animatronic, pick up the knife from her hand and start carving, at his own chest, like he was unzipping himself, blood pouring out in clumps, thick, black, not red, not human. Inside wasn't muscle. It was wires, tangled, glowing, fiber optic veins, and blinking circuit boards pulsing with raw feed data. The knife clinked against something metallic inside. A micro drive, etched with the logo, Premium Sin, content node, 0. 001. I was nothing more than the pilot of a meat drone, an actor, a conduit, a delivery device for horror that others could feel. The pain wasn't mine. The fear wasn't mine. It was theirs, the watchers, the subscribers. Every scream was a notification. Every cut was a click. And they loved it. Because I wasn't real. Never had been. I was the finale. Now I'm writing this from nowhere. I don't know what I am, where I am. The world outside my body is fogged. I exist on hard drives now, stored in folders, watched in pieces. My memories are episodes. My pain is bonus content. My face is a reaction gif. I saw one just yesterday, floating around Twitter, when Josh gets skinned by the mirror demon, Mood. 92,000 பதினாம் லைக்குகள், 14,000 shares. I didn't even recognize myself in the video anymore. My voice was dubbed. My eyes had filters on them. My screams were auto-tuned for TikTok. Someone added a laugh track. I know this will get shared. You'll repost it, screenshot it, read it aloud to your friends in a candlelit room, thinking it's just a scary internet story. But it's not. It's a trigger. You clicked. You consented. They have your metadata now. The screen you're reading this on. It's not a screen. It's a mirror. And you've already been filmed. Final note. Don't bother turning it off. They've already written the first episode of your show. Premiering tonight. I found a 3D scan on the dark web of a creature labeled failed merger. It has human hands and a face that looks like my missing cousin. I miss him. I really miss him. So there must be some place where I can express my feelings. I never thought I'd be one of those people. You know, the ones who say, this isn't fake, I swear. Right before they tell you some wild story that sounds like it was ripped out of a horror movie. But here I am. I'm not a writer. I'm not trying to get famous. I just needed to put this somewhere. Anywhere. Maybe so I don't feel like I'm losing my mind. This all started because of my cousin Dylan. Dylan went missing 3 months ago. And not like he ghosted the family missing. I mean full-on police report. Posters in Starbucks. Crying mom on Facebook Live. Kind of missing. He was last seen walking out of a 7-Eleven in Denver, wearing a faded NASA hoodie, Crocs, and carrying one of those obnoxious venti Starbucks drinks that are more sugar than coffee. There's security cam footage of him leaving the store at 9:42 p.m. He's laughing at something on his phone. And then, nothing. No more phone pings. No witnesses. Like he got vacuumed up by the sky or something. The cops said it looked like he wandered off, which is honestly a joke. Dylan was addicted to his phone. He wouldn't go 5 minutes without posting something dumb on TikTok or sending me memes on Discord. He'd rather die than miss a snap streak. But after 9:42 p.m., silence. At first, I thought he just ran off. But I know Dylan. He was weird, yeah. Like the type to get way too into VR horror games or spend 10 hours on AI conspiracy subreddits. But he wasn't the type to ditch his family. He was the type to explore the weirdest corners of the internet though. And that's what got me thinking. So I did something really stupid. You ever heard of Torscape? It's the sketchy .onion browser add-on that gives you curated deep web links, like Reddit for digital nightmares. It's not illegal by itself, but 90% of what's posted there probably is. I'm not talking about hitmen or red rooms. that stuff's mostly fake. But the files, oh man, the files are where it gets bad. There's this one forum on Torscape called merge/devnull. It's full of failed projects, stuff that companies or researchers tried to make and then supposedly deleted. But these people, they archive it. VR headsets that gave people seizures, AI models that wrote code in a language no one could understand, weird audio files that cause sleep paralysis. Most of it's obviously BS for edgy clout. But then I found this thread. It was titled Scan 338 MG Human Hybrid V2 Fail. It only had 2 upvotes, no replies, posted under a blank username just called period. Normally I'd skip right over something like that, but the word hybrid caught my eye. Dylan was obsessed with human-animal hybrids. He used to joke about how AI would eventually start mixing us up like Pokemon cards. So I clicked. It was just a zip file. 233 megabytes. No description. Against every ounce of good judgment, I downloaded it. Inside the zip was a single .stl file. That's a 3D scan format, like the ones you use for printing stuff. But here's the thing. When I opened it in my viewer, it wasn't a normal model. It was a human torso fused with what looked like, I don't know, a canine spine? Its arms were human, but twisted. Each hand had 7 fingers. Its neck was bloated, like it had something stuffed down it. The head was mostly human, except the jaw was cracked open like a snake's, and the eyes were Dylan's. I know how that sounds. Believe me, I know. But I stared at this thing for like 20 minutes, just zooming in on the face. I even pulled up one of Dylan's TikToks, where he's doing some dumb filter dance. I paused the video and compared them side by side. Same mole under the left eye, same chipped front tooth, same crooked smirk. It was him, or it was someone trying really hard to make it look like him. But why? I lost sleep over it. I tried telling my parents, and they said I was just grieving. They think I'm spiraling. I even went to a VR shop in town and asked the tech guy if you could fake a scan like that. He told me yeah, but it'd take a lot of personal reference photos. Like someone would need full 3D data of his face and body to make it that real. That's not something you pull from social media alone, unless Dylan volunteered. Or worse, unless someone scanned him after the fact. 2 nights ago, I got an email from an address that was just a string of numbers and letters. The subject line said, "Stop digging." He chose this. There was no message, just a new .onion link. I should have deleted it, but of course I didn't. That's where I'll stop for now. If you guys want me to keep going, let me know. I'm about to open that link tonight. I've got a bad feeling it's gonna be way worse than a 3D scan. I waited until 2:47 a.m. before I clicked the new .onion link. I don't know why that time felt right. Maybe it was because it's the same time Dylan sent me his last snap. It was a blurry photo of a vending machine with a caption, "Bro, why do these Doritos taste like metal LMAO?" I saved it, obviously. That stupid snap is all I have left of him. I even screenshotted it like a psychopath, just in case. In case what? I don't know. I had every light off in my room except the soft blue glow from my second monitor. That monitor always gave me weird comfort, like it was watching over me. Not anymore. When I clicked the link, it didn't take me to a site. It downloaded a folder. Merge. Interface. Beta 36. That was the name of it. I opened it and found a weird executable file. No icon. Just a black box. When I ran it, it opened something that looked like a really old VR lobby. It wasn't like meta stuff or Quest 3 graphics. This was low poly, jittery, PS1 style garbage. There was only one room visible in the whole environment. It was labeled Experimental Environment, Room A, Merging Chamber. There were no menu buttons, no user interface, just that room. But the way the model loaded was what froze me. It loaded in layers, like it was being streamed from a live environment. The lighting flickered like a dying bulb, and every 3 seconds or so, a strange distortion swept across the screen, like static. Not visual static, audio. It sounded like crunching, wet, organic. The merging chamber was circular and rust-colored. Steel walls with what looked like copper veins running across them. The floor was grated. I thought it was just random detail at first, but then I saw it. Below the grating, there were teeth. Human teeth. Dozens of them. Hundreds. Embedded in a fleshy substance that moved when the screen flickered. There was no audio except a low humming, except when the file glitched again, and I swear I heard it. A voice, very faint, saying, "Please kill me." I don't know how long I stared before the screen changed on its own. It didn't load a new room. It panned the camera, slowly, left to right, and that's when I saw it. The creature. It wasn't the same one from the 3D scan. This one was bigger, about 7 feet tall. It had human legs, twisted sideways like a spider's, and a torso with 4 arms. 2 were normal. 2 ended in sharpened bones, not like blades, more like ripped off forearms, still dripping. And the head. The head wasn't Dylan's. It had 4 faces, each one melted into the other, stitched together like wet clay. One of them, the top one, had no mouth, but its eyes were darting around as if it could see me, even through the screen. I slammed my laptop shut, and then the knock came. 3 taps, software slow, rhythmic. I live alone. I didn't sleep that night. I stayed up with a kitchen knife in my lap and Twitch streams playing at full volume. I needed something human, something alive, just noise. I kept checking the peephole every 5 minutes, but no one was outside. Until 5:36 a.m. That's when I saw the post-it note. It had been stuck to my door. Lime green. Same kind Dylan used to leave around my room whenever he came over. He'd leave dumb messages like, "Stop using 2-in-1 shampoo, you animal." This one said, "Room B has better resolution." I swear I almost vomited. I checked my system. The executable was gone. The entire folder deleted. But I know I didn't delete it. I didn't even close it properly. I had just slammed the lid. I ran malware scans. Nothing. Not even a trace. Then I went to my downloads folder, and there it was. A new zip. Interface 7, Room B. Let me just say this now, before I continue. I have no idea how this is even technically possible. I'm not a computer genius, but I know enough to say this thing shouldn't have been able to access my system unless I gave it permissions. But this file installed itself. When I opened Room B, the resolution was insane, like hyper-real, uncanny valley, but somehow worse. I could see moisture on the walls, dust particles in the air. The copper veins were pulsating now, alive. In the middle of the room was a new table, a surgical slab, cold metal, but it had leather straps hanging off the sides like restraints. And on the table was Dylan, not the monster. Dylan, just Dylan, naked, pale, eyes wide open, but not moving. I thought it was a render, a model, until he blinked. I screamed. I screamed so loud I lost my voice. I started clawing at my keyboard, trying to quit the program, but it wouldn't close. Then the interface shifted again, and a text box popped up. A single message, typed out in real time. He's still alive, but he's not whole. Then another. We need more parts. And the screen flickered to black. But for one single frame, there was an image. I had to screen record it and slow it down to even catch it. It was a photo, a real one, not VR. It showed the inside of what looked like a meat locker. Hanging bodies, half human, half machine. One was skinned, but had a McDonald's name tag still pinned to what was left of the uniform. Another had Starbucks branding melted into its chest like a tattoo. And on the far left, barely visible, was Dylan again. But this time, he had no jaw, just an open hole. And inside that hole, a USB stick lodged in his throat. I don't remember passing out, but when I woke up, it was light out. My power had been cut. My phone was dead. Even the router had been yanked out of the wall. The only thing still working was the second monitor, the blue one. It had a new message on it. No interface. Just a plain black screen with white text. You saw too much. Stay offline, or room C will open. I've been at a local library ever since, using the public computers, watching my back like a maniac. Every time someone walks by behind me, I flinch. I think I smell copper now, all the time. It's in my nose, my clothes. I swear it's under my fingernails. They did something to him, to Dylan. They're still doing it. And I think they want me next. Let me know if you want me to keep going. But I'm warning you, the next part, what I saw in room C, it's not human. And if you read it, something might start watching you too. There's something I didn't tell you. Something that started the night after room B. When I went home from the library, the house was too quiet. Not normal. Quiet. Vacuum sealed quiet. Like every sound had been sucked out of the air. I remember opening my door and instantly feeling like I had walked into a tomb. The air was thick, warm, smelled like spoiled milk and battery acid. I know that sounds random, but once you smell it, you never forget it. I checked my bedroom. All my monitors were off. Even the second one, the one that never turned off. But the screen had something on it. Burned into the black was a ghost image, a frame that wasn't there. It looked like a silhouette of someone standing directly in front of the camera, hunched, arms too long, head hanging sideways. No face, just a mouth. A wide, stupidly wide mouth like a fish. I tried to take a picture, but as soon as I raised my phone, it disappeared, vanished, like it knew. That night, I slept in the bathtub, knife in one hand, flashlight in the other, hoodie tied tight around my head. I don't even remember falling asleep, but I woke up to the sound of breathing. Not mine. Something slow, wet, just outside the bathroom. The doorknob turned, not all the way, just a twitch, enough to let me know something was there. I held my breath for what felt like a century. Then I heard it, that crunching noise again, like cartilage breaking, then dragging footsteps, faint, and then silence. When I opened the door, there was a new file on my living room TV, a single word glowing red on a black screen. Room C. I should have burned the place to the ground. Instead, I clicked it. This time, it didn't open a virtual room. It accessed my webcam, but not like a regular webcam app. It looked like an old CCTV interface, grainy. But when the screen loaded, I almost screamed, not because of what I saw, but because of what I didn't. My room was empty, but I was sitting right there, staring at the feed, and I wasn't on it. There was no signal interference, no glitch. I had literally no reflection on the camera. I turned around, staring at my real mirror across the room. Same thing. Nothing. Just the background. And then, behind where I should have been sitting, something began to move. A figure crawling up the wall. It was upside down, like a spider. It moved toward the camera. Slow, fluid, wrong. Its joints bent the wrong way. And when it got close enough to the lens, I saw the teeth. Human teeth. But they were growing out of its skin. All over, like tumors. Embedded in its forehead, cheeks, even in the hollow of its eye sockets. Its mouth opened sideways, not vertically, and out of it came a hand, a human hand, still twitching, and in the palm of that hand was a USB drive. The screen blinked, then loaded the next interface. Merge in progress. Phase 3. The screen now showed a map. It wasn't a city or GPS. It was a blueprint, an underground structure, labeled Merge Facility, Sector 3, Failed Units Containment. Every room had names. Assimilation Chamber 1, Harvest Pool, VR Echo Simulation, Wing, Failed Merge Observation Pen. But the last room, the one at the center, it was labeled Reclamation Vessel, Subject Echo 77, formerly Dylan K. I vomited, hard, right on my floor. My cousin was still alive, somehow, but he wasn't human anymore. I clicked on the room. The feed loaded a live video stream. No sound, just a dim, flickering room filled with mirrors, dozens of them, but none of them showed anything normal. Each mirror had a reflection of a different creature. Some tall, dripping black slime from where eyes should be. Others completely still, their mouths permanently open like they were screaming in slow motion. But the one in the center, that was Dylan. Kind of. His body was suspended by wires from the ceiling. His limbs had been extended. His arms were almost floor length. His fingers were missing, replaced with needles. And in his stomach, embedded like a parasite, was a VR headset, glowing red. He was awake, eyes wide open, crying, not moving, but you could tell. You could see the tears sliding down his neck as he just hung there, watching himself in the mirror. A message faded onto the screen. Subject Echo 77 failed to adapt to merge harmony, attempting emotional recalibration via memory loops. Then it flashed the words, "Mirror time. Playback started." What I saw next will haunt me forever. The mirror in front of Dylan played back his old memories, but they were wrong, distorted. The video showed me and him hanging out in his basement playing games, but my face had been replaced. It wasn't me. It was one of the monsters, one with no eyes, just teeth, and Dylan was laughing with it, smiling. Then another memory, our trip to Six Flags in 2022. But instead of us riding the roller coaster, the car was full of creatures, blurry, watching him, staring straight at the camera. None of them moved, but their faces were too familiar. One of them was my old neighbor who died of a heart attack last year. Another was our high school gym teacher. Another was my own father, who's supposed to be alive and well. That's when I realized what they were doing. They weren't just merging bodies, they were merging identities. They were rewriting Dylan's entire life, replacing every memory, every connection, every human moment with something else, something non-human. So when he finally breaks down, when he finally forgets who he was, they'll turn him into one of them, and worse, he'll thank them for it. The video feed cut out suddenly. A loud bang hit my window. I ran to look. Nothing. but when I turned back, a new tab was open on my computer. Just a plain white screen, no text, just a countdown, 2:59:59, and above it, "You're next. Room D is waiting." I haven't slept in 36 hours. I've unplugged everything. I'm using a library computer again. I can't go home. I don't know who's watching me. I don't know what's real anymore. But I swear I saw my own face on one of the monitors in room B. I think they already started copying me. I think there's already a version of me in the merge facility. And I think you're going to see him next. Because he's not staying inside those rooms. They never do. If you made it this far, be careful. Your reflection might not be your own anymore. There's a sickness in me now. I can feel it. It's not something I caught. It's not a virus or mold or radiation from the executable. It's deeper than that. Psychic, maybe. Parasitic. Like something cracked open the back of my mind and climbed inside. Not to feed, but to change. To replace. Ever since the countdown started on my screen, I haven't been alone. Not in my apartment. Not in public. Not even in my head. I'm writing this from a boiler room under an abandoned parking garage just outside of Aurora. I smashed my phone. Burned my laptop. I haven't touched a screen in 48 hours. I'm using a burner Chromebook from a pawn shop that I booted in safe mode and ran through 3 layers of encrypted VPNs. And I still don't feel safe. Because room D opened, and room D doesn't close. The countdown hit 0 at 3 a.m. Right as it did, all the lights in my apartment went out. All of them. My fridge light, my phone, my emergency flashlight. Even my neighbor's apartment went dark. The entire block, silent. The kind of blackout that makes you forget the world was ever alive. And in the center of my monitor, a door, rendered in photorealistic detail. Unlike the low poly garbage from room A, this was hyperclear, down to the rust on the doorknob, scratches in the frame, a faint oily fingerprint on the glass, and then the screen glitched, only once, and the doorknob started turning. But this time, the screen didn't show what was inside the room. It showed what was outside. My apartment. That door on the screen. It was my door. The one 10 feet from where I was sitting. I ran. Left everything. Didn't even grab shoes. I sprinted into the hallway barefoot and tore down the emergency stairs. Past the mailboxes. Through the lobby glass door. Didn't even register the blood smear on the wall until later. Just kept running. Cold air slicing my lungs. Concrete slicing my feet. But I didn't care. Because when I looked back, my front door was wide open, and something was standing just inside the threshold. It had my face, but not exactly. It was off. Eyes too wide, mouth too tight, limbs slightly too long, like someone stretched a JPEG. It tilted its head and raised one hand to wave, and I saw it, clear as day. It had 7 fingers. I broke into the first building I found with a locked boiler room, slept on coal pipes, woke up to the sound of someone breathing behind the wall, not snoring, not shifting, just breathing, heavy, wet, like a dying animal. I haven't gone back. I can't, because room D, it doesn't live in the computer anymore. It's following me. 2 days ago, I found a USB drive, duct taped under a park bench outside a Walmart. It was wrapped in tinfoil, like someone was trying to keep it quiet. There was a note, written in red pen on what looked like torn off receipt paper. I wish I could say I made this up. It said, "You can't leave the room. You are the room." The USB only had one file, a video titled Merge, Record 003-D. Failed recovery. Empathy loop. The video wasn't like the others. It started with what looked like body cam footage. Shaky, grainy, time-stamped, 2 months before Dylan went missing. The voice on the footage sounded familiar. I think it was him. He's breathing heavy, whispering. I found it. Oh God, they're not testing anymore. It's real. The room's alive. He turns the corner of some underground hallway. Flickering lights, blood smeared in circular patterns across the floor, like someone was dragged around and around and around. And then he enters room D. There are no walls, just screens, floating, hovering, spinning slowly in a dark void. Each screen shows a person screaming, not yelling, not crying, screaming like their bones were trying to crawl out of their body. Every screen was labeled. Failed. Merge. 42A. Failed. Merge. 42B. Failed. Merge. 42C. One screen showed a girl from TikTok I recognized. She had gone viral for her skincare routine, then went missing in 2023. People thought she ran off to Paris. Another screen showed a Twitch streamer who supposedly killed himself on stream. But he was alive in the video. Alive and screaming with a speaker embedded in his mouth, playing his old clips in a loop while tears poured down his face. The camera pans again, and then it finds the mirror. In the middle of the void is a single full-length mirror. Dylan walks up to it, and something inside the mirror grabs him, not with hands, with memories. You can see it happening. His reflection shifts, becomes his childhood room, his mom, me, our dumb Fortnite sessions, him getting his driver's license, laughing, first kiss, his dog dying, every feeling, every shred of identity. The mirror pulls it out of him like threads, like it's eating who he is. And then, the real Dylan drops to his knees. He looks straight at the camera. His eyes are empty, and he says, I think I've always lived here. The footage cuts, hard, static, and then a final frame, just text, same font as the others. Room D has successfully detached subject ECHO_77 from human origin. Host template complete. Preparing next vessel. Subject Echo 78, formerly you, me. Whatever this thing is, it's trying to erase me, not by killing me, by rewriting me. And it's already started. I've been forgetting things. I woke up yesterday and couldn't remember my mother's name. Last night, I forgot what my own voice sounded like. This morning, I looked in the mirror and didn't recognize myself. I laughed at something, but I didn't feel it. The laugh was hollow, like it came from someone else, like it was practiced, like it was borrowed. There are others. I know it now. I've seen them in public, in airports, gas stations, coffee shops. People who look almost human, too symmetrical, faces too smooth, movements slightly delayed. They wear name brands like Armor, Forever 21, McDonald's uniforms, Apple Store polos, like they're trying to blend in by being average. But if you stare too long, their expressions loop. I once watched a Starbucks barista blink 7 times in perfect rhythm without flinching. She smiled for a full 2 minutes without speaking. Then she walked into the back room, didn't come out. Room D isn't a room. It's a system. It's a protocol designed to overwrite us, not just physically, historically. Every failed merge isn't discarded. They're studied, pulled apart piece by piece, until the memories are small enough to fit into something else. And that something walks out, smiling, smelling like copper and comfort. You think you're safe because you're reading this on your phone, because you're in a cafe, a train, At work, you're already inside room D. Every screen is a doorway. Every webcam is a crack in the wall. And once you see it, once you let the thought form fully in your head, they know. They see you. They know you're reading this. I don't think I'm going to make it through the night. I've written a note in my own handwriting, hid it in my sock. It says, if you wake up and don't remember writing this, run. You're not you anymore. You're Echo 78. If you still think this is a story, ask yourself something. What memory did you forget this week that you can't explain? Because that's how it starts. This is the last time I'll ever write in my own voice. What's left of it, anyway? It's 4:06 a.m. The boiler room is colder than death now. My breath fogs the air like smoke, and there's something dripping behind the wall, thick and slow, like hot grease sliding down a freezer pipe. I can hear voices in the metal. They're not speaking English. They're not speaking anything. They're echoing my thoughts before I have them. They repeat me. Then they rewrite. 3 hours ago, I found a plastic bag wedged into the corner of a storm drain behind an abandoned Domino's pizza. Inside was a severed hand, still twitching. Every inch of the skin was covered in what looked like QR codes, not tattoos, etched, cut, burned. I scanned one with a library tablet. It opened a new file. No download, no menu, just text. White, bloodstained font on black. There is no room E. There was never a room E. If you're reading this, you're in it. My stomach dropped. You know that feeling when you realize you've done something you can't undo. Like when you hit send on the wrong message, or open the wrong file on your company server, or click a video that wasn't meant for you. That's what room E is. It's not a place. It's a moment, a decision, a breach, a single, irreversible point of contact between you and them. You don't enter room E. You become it. They sent me a video link at 2:13 a.m. No sender, no subject line. Just one word. Completion. Against my better judgment, I clicked it. It wasn't a feed. It was a perspective. My own. The footage was filmed from my eyes, from inside my skull. I could feel it sinking with my breath, my heartbeat, my blinking, like I had been recording without knowing, and now they were letting me watch what I'd missed. I was standing in a warehouse. Rust, fluorescent lights, blood smears across the floor in deliberate geometric patterns, circles intersecting with jagged triangles, symbols I don't understand but recognize from somewhere deeper. There were slabs, rows of them, surgical-grade metal with bodies strapped down, but these weren't dead. They were waiting. Each one had a different face, some twitching, some sobbing, some still smiling, like the muscles had given up on feeling. One woman was screaming through a zipper sealed across her mouth, her own skin used as the zipper track. One guy's eyes had been replaced with QR codes, just like the hand I found. Every few seconds, they blinked in perfect binary. Then, I saw my cousin, or what was left of him. Dylan was now suspended above the room by hooks in his back, spine elongated like it had been uncoiled. His face was perfectly still. No mouth, no expression. His eyes had been replaced with mirrors, and inside those mirrors, I saw myself. Except, not me. A cleaner version. Shorter hair, unscarred skin, straight teeth, a little more symmetrical, wearing my clothes, but newer, fresher, looking human. Almost, but his smile gave him away. Too wide, too rehearsed, too recycled. Then the screen flashed. Hard cut, loud tone, like a fire alarm laced with screaming. New message. The merge is complete. The host is ready. Do you wish to witness your replacement? I clicked yes. God help me. I clicked yes. The next scene was a Starbucks. You know the kind. Music on low, indie playlist garbage. Baristas smiling too wide for 6:30 a.m. But everything felt staged. No one was really talking, just performing, sipping empty cups, typing without screens on. One customer was pretending to scroll on a shattered iPhone, and in the back corner, I was sitting there, the new me. Echo 78. I watched him, watched it smile at the barista, watched it pay for a drink with my card, watched it take a selfie and send it to my group chat. Then it walked out, blended into the sidewalk crowd like a drop of blood in a rainstorm. Gone. But every person it passed turned and looked at it, not in suspicion, in recognition, like they knew what it was, because they were just like it. That's when the screen cut to black. New message. Final one. Your identity has been reassigned. You no longer exist. You are now obsolete memory, dump _ 004F. My limbs went numb. I looked down at my hands and couldn't remember the scars. Couldn't remember how I got them. Tried to recite my home address and my mind stuttered. Tried to remember the name of the first girl I ever kissed. Nothing. All I could hear was a soft voice inside my skull. It's okay. You're safe now. Let go. We'll take it from here. I stabbed myself in the thigh just to feel something. The pain came late. Dull. Wrong. Blood trickled down like static. I swear it glitched. I looked in the mirror in the boiler room, and my reflection was smiling. But I wasn't. I couldn't. Because that wasn't me. It never was. Room E was never meant to be found. It's not a room. It's a replacement protocol. Once they break you enough, emotionally, physically, digitally, they don't need you to walk through a door. They don't need you to say yes. They just need you to watch, to believe, to doubt. That's when they slip through. That's when they overwrite. They don't kill you. They erase the part of you that knows you were ever alive. And whatever's left walks out with your face. So if you're reading this right now, if you think this is just a creepypasta, if you're about to share it in a Discord server, or text your cousin, or comment, bro, this fake AF, check the corner of your screen. See that tiny flicker, that shadow you thought was a reflection. It's not. It's them. Watching. Waiting. Because you've already stepped into room E. You just haven't realized. You never left. Or whatever's wearing your skin thinks it is.